This is New York's Flatiron building.
Despite standing just 22 stories tall on an island full of massive skyscrapers, it's managed to endure as a cake slice shaped icon of this city since 1902.
It's not just a building, it's an oddity. It has endured as the funny duck of New York.
That unusual triangular shape has captured the eyes of photographers, tourists, and movie and TV directors for decades.
Spider-Man and the Green Goblin.
Relax. How am I supposed to relax?
But in recent years, this world-famous structure has sat empty and under scaffolding, only for a New York court to then order it to be put up for grabs at auction in early 2023. An auction that seems to have turned into a bit of a farce.
I never thought that someone would bid so much for the building.
It's the latest uncertain chapter in the long story of this building. A building that's seen so much of New York's history unfold and that's endured so much already. This is the story of how one of the city's strangest towers came to be, of how it went on to become so iconic, and why the current struggles around its sale are probably only going to make it more famous.
Manhattan's grid street layout is hard to miss, but cutting its own path through much of it is Broadway, and where that crosses Fifth Avenue, a rather awkward plot of land gets created. Now, this city is famous for its ambition, and small, awkward plots of land haven't stopped it yet. Not even way back in 1901. Purchasing the site in the May of that year, the Fuller Company appointed Chicago's Daniel Burnham to design a new headquarters for the firm that maximised every inch of the available land. He came back with an eye-catching and ornately detailed 22-storey slice of steel and stonework, then known as the Fuller Building. With the design approved and a number of shorter residential and commercial structures demolished, construction on the new tower started racing ahead, at times adding a new floor every week. With an unusual footprint, hardly any site working space, and busy New York streets on either side of them, construction teams had to be clever. And following a recent change in the city's fire codes, this became one of the earliest buildings in New York to shun load-bearing masonry and instead take advantage of steel for its structural frame. More than 3,500 tons of it was prefabricated off-site in Pennsylvania, then dropped into place almost immediately when it arrived, minimising the need for storage.
Closely following the steel skywards was the building's then revolutionary curtain wall cladding system. Ornate terracotta and limestone stonework that was used to simply infill and clad around the structural steel that actually carries the building's weight. I love this city, but I'm not going to lie, it's exhausting. And after a long day of looking at skyscrapers, all I want to do is get back to my hotel room and watch my favourite British shows. Not whatever's on the hotel TV.
You want to do something to me? No, can't stop.
And that is where today's video sponsor Surfshark comes in.
It's a VPN that protects your personal data from big companies and cyber criminals. It does that by swapping the real location of your device with a new one. That means I can virtually travel to nearly any country around the globe from my New York hotel room, like right back to the UK for my own comfort shows. And even on this hotel Wi-Fi, Surfshark keeps your online identity safe from hackers by encrypting your data. If you sign up now, the B1M's viewers can get 3 extra months for free. Just use the code B1M. Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk to try it out. You can sign up now at the link in the description.
Now, let's get back to that triangular wedge of engineering brilliance.
As the frame rose, onlookers often stopped to watch the spectacle. Unlike many high-rise buildings that taper or step back as they rise, the Flatiron mimics a Greek column. Its top and bottom are slightly wider than its middle section. That sharp top corner of the building is a mere 2 meters wide with an incredible angle of just 25 degrees.
It's all based on Beaux-Arts design, which came from Paris.
Alice Sparberg-Alexou knows a thing or two about the Flatiron building. In fact, she wrote a whole book on it.
Because all these Chicago architects, like Burnham, like Louis Sullivan, they all went to Beaux-Arts, and they studied this Beaux-Arts design, which incorporates all these Renaissance and classical elements into a modern, quote, modern structure, the skyscraper, and took it to America and then adapted it to American cities.
With such sharp angles and large open streets running down to it, engineers painstakingly considered the building's aerodynamics. The steel frame was built to withstand up to 4 times the expected wind loads acting on it. Still, gusts from the north would split around the sides of the building, creating a windy experience for people on the street.
The Flatiron building, shaped like a triangle.
Perhaps unsurprisingly, the interior layout created some design quirks too. Office space was tight and sometimes a challenge to furnish. The elevators were powered by water pressure and infamously slow, occasionally springing leaks and causing flooding. Still, it was better than the alternative, a single 22-storey stair climb for those wanting to reach the top floor. When it completed in 1902, there weren't exactly jubilant celebrations. In fact, the unusual structure was met with consternation and became dubbed Burnham's Folly. Despite being sold at auction for a mere $100,000 during the Great Depression, the 121 years since the building's completion have largely proven the naysayers wrong. The tower is now an iconic symbol of New York, drawing tourists from all over the world. And though the original site that the Fuller Company purchased back in 1902 had been loosely called the Flatiron for a time, the term Flatiron Building has now formally stuck and even given its name to this district of Manhattan. Over the years, it's been home to a variety of companies and retail tenants. Back in 1966, it was designated as an official city landmark, a special status that means any renovations, construction or demolition works must be approved in advance by a government commission. Thankfully, you'll find structures like Grand Central Terminal and the Empire State on the same list. Then, in 1989, the Flatiron was further elevated to National Historic Landmark status.
But if these classifications were meant to preserve a sense of reverence for this structure, then you wouldn't exactly know it today. The Flatiron has sat empty since 2019, when its last tenant, Macmillan Publishers, moved out, and that's when renovation works began.
Those works, which have partly taken place through the pandemic, have triggered multiple disagreements among the building's current owners and future tenants. Things got so bad that the New York State Supreme Court ordered an auction on the building in 2023, the first of its kind in nearly 100 years.
These other owners, who comprise 75% of the building, they are Jeff Gural, who's a big real estate person in New York, the Sorgente Group, which is based in Rome, and a few other people have 75% of the property. And Nathan Silverstein has 25%. So their intention was to buy it back at auction, and that was how they were going to get rid of Nathan.
The auction was held outside on the steps of this courthouse, with bids starting at $50 million. Over the course of about 40 minutes, things quickly escalated until an unexpected and unknown buyer called Jacob Garlick beat out Jeff Gural, the building's current majority interest holder, with a bid of $190 million.
Now, given the building's value had reportedly decreased after the pandemic and was in need of more than $100 million of renovations, this was something of a surprising twist. But it's not where the story ends. In yet another bizarre turn, Garlick disappeared. He failed to make the $19 million down payment within the required time period, and has yet to reply to multiple messages from the media.
So at this point, you're probably wondering how something like this is even possible. Surely you can't just rock up to an auction, outbid everybody, and vanish.
Well, according to court filings that we've seen, bidders weren't required to pay a deposit of any sort to participate in the auction. It wasn't until after the event that a winner needed to provide proof of any funds. That's something that real estate experts say is highly unusual practice, and it seems to have led to, well, just about anyone joining in. Alice, who actually attended the auction, said she's heard speculations about Garlick and his relation to one of the building's former owners, Nathan Silverstein.
Yeah, there's something, weird going on. Some people suspect that Nathan put him up to it so that they would keep upping the price, and then Nathan would walk away with more money because he had lost the building.
For now, who Jacob Garlick is and what exactly he was doing remain unknown, and with no definitive owner, the future of this landmark building hangs in the balance.
121 years is a long time in New York, and this building has seen it all. From the initial opposition to its existence, through the Great Depression, a world war, the immense changes that the second half of the 20th century brought, and now a reimagining of how we use our cities. A headline-grabbing auction battle is the latest compelling twist in the amazing history of this structure. Far from being its downfall, it's likely to help make it feel even more legendary. This video was made possible by Surfshark. You can learn more about that at the link below. There's also the chance to dive deeper on the Flatiron building and other topics on our channel over on the World's Best Construction Podcast, available right now wherever you get your podcasts. And as always, guys, if you enjoyed this video and you want to get more from the definitive video channel for construction, from the channel that takes you into the heart of New York City, smash that subscribe button.